challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled with it.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Welcome to Ngozi Talk Shows, everyone. Find your own voice. Lead from within. My name is Nomsa Clara Mnumbe. I'm the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Ngozi Talk Shows. With me today is Dr. Bijat. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Numsa, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are as you watch this. And let me ask you this. Have you ever have things from that has happened in the past in your life that when you think about it, when it surfaces in your mind, you still go, I wish I have not done that. Or perhaps it's something that where you, when it surfaces in your mind, you're like, oh God, I still want to kill that person, right? And many times we have that, and it is one of those things that when that's happening, then it's definitely when it is happening, you're not feeling good, is it? What you don't know is even though you're not feeling that all the time, it's actually continue to influence you all the time at all these other times that you are not feeling it, because it's kind of sitting under the surface. It's if you have things like underwater that's from time to time pop up on the water, that is how your past that is still haunting you act. It's continue to do that with you. And I think we just lost Numsa. Might be internet connections or something. But if you have something like that, where you have things that come to you from time to time and either make you say, "Oh my goodness," or it make you it's cause you to say, Gus," then what can you do? What is it that you can do such that you'll be able to free from that truly and fully, and actually live your life, create the life you want, instead of continue being haunted by this thing. Basically, that is equivalent to having a 100-pound ball, having a 100-pound ball or a 50-kilo ball chained to each one of your ankles. So what is it that you can do with that? And today we'll share with you why and how you can let go of the past. How do you can let go of the past? Some people say, what can you do so you can forget the past? Do you want to forget the past? That is the question sometimes, right? And also, what is it that you can do to be able, most importantly, of the reasons we want to do that is to be present, to move forward in your relationship, in your work, in life in general, because as we just mentioned, sometimes we don't realize this. Those things that surface from time to time, it's actually under the water or on the ground. It continue to cause problem. It continue to cause problem. I don't know where Numsa goes, but
I am here, Dr. Bigger. I don't know what my video is doing.
okay. I thought I was like I thought Numsa's hiding, so I was going to give an example of the past is what we call in medicine. In medicine, we have those one of those things that we call asymptomatic infection, particularly when you deal with people with immunocompromised. Because some people, I have a lot of people come to me and say, oh, but it's gonna come to my mind once in a while, and so that's about it. And yeah, it bothers me at the time, but I'm not worried about it afterward. Well, actually, just like these asymptomatic infections, we have the when we have asymptomatic infections, very common in people with immunocompromised. And I work with cancer patients, so everybody immunocompromised. What happened is you continue to have this infection. Say you have, for instance, just an example, which is a common one in diabetes as well. By the way, you got a bladder infection, and you got a bladder infections. The infection's there. The infection continued to be there, and it continued to cause problem little by little to your health. And at the same time, it doesn't always show symptoms, so you don't even know that you have something that causing problem in you from in the inside of you. And from time to time you might notice these infections and it flares up or something, but the rest of the time, even when you don't notice it, this infection is there and it continue to cause problem. And so therefore, your past that pop up in your mind from time to time and make you say grrr, or make you say, "Oh my goodness, I wish that haven't happened. I haven't done that." It's kind of like that infection. It continue to cause problem with you, and interfere with your life, and sometimes physically, but definitely emotionally, in creating the life you want in so many way. And the sad part is with this hidden thing, this unrecognized or unrecognized for non-professional people. It actually cause interfere you from being able to create the life you want. I don't know if it's Numsa there. She's kind of in and out. Are you just not in the video, Numsa, or you disappear? There we go.
Hi, Dr. Bigot. Did I kick you out as well? Did he kick you out as well? Hi, Dr. Bigot.
It kicks me out for a moment. I think it looks like it won 1% for at a time. How strange.
I know. I don't know why I've had to remove my background, so I don't know what's been happening.
Okay. Well, right now it has both of us. So that's one of the things that I find the reason why it's important for us to let go your past, even if it doesn't come up in your mind all the time. What have you seen, Numsa, particularly in your work, say as a love harmonist? Does the past seems to be interfering with people?
Yeah, I think sometimes it can be very, very difficult if you have had a difficult past experiences and you find it hard. Would you like, are you muted, Dr. Bigot? Because I can hear the feedback. Would you like to mute yourself?
Yes.
Sometimes it can really cause pain and suffering if you have not dealt with your past, and if you are still stuck in that painful story, and it could actually stop you moving forward in whether it comes to relationship, whether it comes to your personal life or business. It will be really, really hard if you are basically that someone who is still holding on to the experiences that you have had in the past, because first, the one thing, if you have had bad experiences, you want to forgive yourself, you want to forgive those who have hurt you, but sometimes it can be tough because we want that uncertainty, that basically we want to stay in that familiar place, familiar world. If we feel that if I move on to this world, to the unknown, I'm gonna get hurt again. The same thing that happened in the past is gonna happen again. But what we don't understand is every story is different. Reina, where is Reina? Maybe I've kicked her out when I was kicking out. Hi Reina, how are you? Yeah, so what we don't understand is when you've been hurt before, you have to embrace those experiences. You have to embrace whatever it came your way that moment, because there is a lesson that you might have learned in that moment, but you're still holding on instead of using that experience to actually build your life. Using that, sometimes it can be really, really tough. There's some people who have gone through really, really bad challenges in life. Some people have experienced sexual abuse. Some people have experienced physically and mentally abuse in a relationship. Some people have experienced so many different things in life, which is painful, but you have to move on, because the person that has done that to you, they have moved on. Some of them, they are married. Some people, they get abused, sexually abused by their parents. Some people sexually abused by strangers, and those people have, they move on. Maybe relationship, physical abuse, and that person has moved on, they've got married, and they are living a happy life, and you're still holding on. So it is very, very important to actually not to carry the pain to your present life. You have to deal with it. If you can't deal with on your own, there are professionals out there. We are lucky in hospitals, in doctors. You can find um, free uh, free um, a psychologist that can help you to basically to heal with the healing process for free through NHS in the UK. I don't know in America what is under, but in the UK you can find counseling for free. Sometimes it can be a waiting list, or sometimes if you go online, actually there are some people who are at uni, they are qualified, but they need hours to work, and then there'll be advertising for them to get those hours, like to basically to finish their degree. They need maybe 200 hours or 500 hours for free. So there'll be advertising for free, looking for people to give them counseling for free. So you have to use all the resources that are available to actually work on your trauma. And hey, what is Rena? Yeah, Irena. Oh, that was Dr. Bigot. Yeah, so you have to. It's very challenging, Dr. Bigot. Over to you.
And let me remember to unmute myself, right? It's the game of the mute button. Uh, yeah, it is the healthcare system here in the United States a little bit different. But even so, there are still ways to let go of your past. The Because sometimes yes, you have there is one of the saying that there is many ways to get to Rome. So that's one of the things that you will be able to let go of your past. Now the questions is, let's say, if you say, okay, so do you realize now that it is something that can interfere with you in your life after what you're hearing? So what can you do though? Yes, you can work with a counselor, or go to the hospital to mental health. But aside from that, what does it takes really to let go of your past so it stop haunting you? And to me, I don't know about your thought, Numsa, everything come with a decision. And a lot of time, like you say, people worry about letting go of your past because they're not sure of what's coming. But there is something in the vicinity of, well, if your past is no longer serving you, you could try to continue to hang on to that. It's kind of like, to me, it's like an oasis in the desert that now it has dried out. And if you ever seen those water that is initially perhaps there's a source of water there and then it start to dry out, not only it's drying out, usually when it's doing that, it's become really like murky and pleasant water and even possibly hazardous to your health, right? And yes, you can say, okay, but if I, it's a desert, if I walk from here, well, I don't know what's gonna be next. Would I find another oasis? Well, we don't guarantee you can find another oasis. We don't guarantee you at all. What we know is if you stay in there, you're not gonna find one. You're not gonna find another one. If it hasn't been, it's not gonna magically pop up something. And sometimes we say, yes, we kind of want to for it to magically revive itself. Well, sometimes there are certain things you can do to revive your oasis. It's kind of like if you have a well, certain thing you can do, and so there might be, but you got to do something. You don't just sit there and say, "I wish this thing's going to start giving me water again." If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what to do, how to first try to revive that, then that's when you want to try to get help. I remember back in the day, seemingly a million years ago now, when I noticed that my marriage back then started to disintegrate at an amazing rate, actually. I first, and it's the normal, natural reaction for people, by the way. So don't feel bad about this. The first thing that I tried to do is try to save the marriage. I mean, it was a 15 years marriage, so I did everything. And I did this and I did that. There were a couple relationship coach that was I invested in, and so forth. And then it didn't work, but still, even if you try to revive that, you revive the marriage, and it's at a state of, it's already, we have the term here, it's already hit the fan, so it's already disintegrating. Well, you want to ask for help. If it is work, you want to ask for help with a coach that is experienced with that. If it's health, go to your doctor as much sooner than later, and have a health coach. A lot of time it's a great combination. I'm very happy Western trained doctor. So in other words, I don't have complete complementary medicine training or holistic training at all, but with practically all my patients, I see the one that do best are the one that combine both the so-called traditional, conventional medicines and unconventional. So this is not a medical advice, by the way. It's just go if you have health conditions, take care of that with your doctor, with your health coach, and if you have relationships, then ask for help with relationship. But it's one of those things that you want to address it, and if you try to do that the way I did with the marriage and it doesn't go anywhere, and start to feel it's causing more burden than good, then no, you don't know if you're going to move forward to, if you leave, that you're going to get what you want. But we know that if you stay there, you're not gonna we're gonna receive what you need, never mind what you want. So do you have any tip, Numsa, for people who say, yeah, but then how do I know what I'm gonna get out there? I hear, let's say, with the relationship, many people decide to stay. I have friends here that for longest time decide to stay in a relationship that's not life giving, because they're like, well, basically 9 out of 10 single friend, no, actually 10 out of 10 of my single friends, all my single friends say it sucks to be single, that dating is horrible and you can never find another good one and all these things. So why would I leave this one, even though I'm being emotionally abused? Maybe I'm even physically abused. What's your thought as a coach and a love harmonist on when people say it's like, well, I mean, we know how difficult it is being single.
we know how difficult it is to be single, but the life is a choice. However you choose to live your life is a choice. If you choose to be miserable, then you are going to be miserable. But then also the words that we use when there's so many people. I have friends like your friends, Dr. Bigot. So they basically people believe that there is no one out there. So if you are a good person, that means that there is someone who is a good person who is waiting for you. In order for you to actually meet that person that has the qualities that you are looking for in that relationship, that is looking for a long-term relationship that is loving and kind, and that has dreams, has goals, and you have to do something. If you are not happy in that relationship, it's gonna be very, very easy to get out of that relationship, because sometimes when we are being abused, we intend to blame ourselves. We intend to make excuses for people that are doing bad things to us. So we intend to say, oh, he is doing this or she is doing this because of this, what I've done because of this. We make so many excuses in life that I can't do this because I'm not getting out, because it's going to be hard. Guess what? There are 70 years old, 90-year-old who become widow, but they go out, they go to the club where other widows, they meet other people, and sometimes they even get married. So if a woman who is 90, a man who is 70, or a woman who is 70, if they can have the courage to step into the unknown and find that courage and find that special person that they are looking for, their desire, and live the life that they want, what is stopping you? What is stopping someone who is younger finding that special person? We don't enter relationship and ask to be abused. We enter, but sometimes the signs are there from the beginning. That's why when we go like with matchmaking, you find that they meet the client first before they introduce those clients to other people. The reason is the way you're gonna speak to me, that's the way you're gonna speak to my clients. So if you are someone who is aggressive, there is no way that you can hide that aggression. If the waitress present you with cold meat, that's where your personality is gonna come out. Anger, frustration. But if you are a well-cultured man or a woman who knows that people make mistakes, you're gonna say, excuse me, may I please have hot food? Explain why you want to return that one politely, and the waitresses will simply remove that and give you a food that is cooked properly. But if you scream, you shout, you are telling a matchmaker, this is who I am. So that's when the matchmaker will suggest, would you like to go for counseling? Because that means there are underlying problems that are there. Or maybe that person is very, very abusive, so that means they need help. But if they refuse help, that means if they refuse to get help, that means the matchmaker, we don't take the clients. We don't take, for me, basically, money or no money, I will not take somebody who is very abusive, who is refusing to get help. And Reina says it all depends how you programmed, and if you want to reprogram, it is an awareness. Yes, it is an awareness. And sometimes we might have had amazing parents, like Dr. Bigere said from the beginning. We might have had a really, really amazing upbringing. But then when we enter the situation, because we are human beings, when you enter an abusive relationship, getting out of that relationship, or maybe you're being abused emotionally, so it will be really, really difficult when somebody tells you every day that you are not enough, your legs are not enough, your bum, your boobs are not enough. So you will start questioning yourself, who is going to want me? But guess what? Everybody is going to want you because that love comes from within. So you have to be aware that you create your own life. You have a choice to say no to every experience, every circumstance in your life. You have the courage to say no. Hi, Patmaja from India. How are you doing? So yeah, we all have a choice, Dr. Bigger. I'm glad that you asked that question because sometimes things can be really, really hard for people to actually move forward when it comes to relationship, when it comes to the heart, or sometimes someone they've lost their loved ones through death, and they think if I get married to someone, the same thing will happen. But guess what? The universe, how it works, God works, is if you go through a painful experience, you have to break the pattern because that pattern can actually happen. The reason why it can happen, it could be the way you select your lovers. It could be how you select people. You select people who are bullies, who are abusive. So you need to break that pattern. That's why I love my pictures with my chains. Break every chain. So that's why it's important to break the pattern, break the chain of understanding who you are, that I will not enter a relationship with somebody who doesn't treat me well, because we all deserve to be treated well. So over to you, Dr. Biget. I've mentioned that someone who have lost their loved one through death. So what would you actually advise someone who's lost their husband and lost their wife and they're scared to step into the unknown and start it all over again? It's like having a child. So how can you take away that fear as a therapist? Because that is your field.
Right. So, couple things with that actually. The first thing is many people whose loved one passed away. Yes, there are people who are scared to step into something new, but it is actually as many people who feel, being a grief transformation coach that I am, there are as many people who feel that if you move forward, you betray your loved ones. So yeah, if your relationship was not good, then you really don't have that concern. But in many cases, even people whose relationship was not all rosy, so to say, and has a lot of strife in there, when the partner passed away, they have these things of, you feel that if you move forward, you go dating, you do this, you do that, you betray that person. Let's make you understand, you do not betray. Not only you do not betray that person, you actually, by moving forward, if the person love you, it is an expression of your honor and love to that person, in addition to yourself. So let's say your husband or wife passed away, and the person love you. When you actually take care of your own life and create after, now everybody has different time that they need to grieve, and it's not one size fit all, so everybody different. But if you allow help such that you move through your grief in the best way possible. And even just like with cancer, there is a way to move through your grief in a way that it's much more life giving to you. Just like I'm an oncologist, and you can get a cancer treatment and you all beat up and miserable through the treatment, or you can get cancer treatment where you're happy, comfortable, and actually living a life more vibrantly. And the same thing, you can be grieving, you can have somebody passed away, and yes, you're going to have some time of grief, but there is a way such that you can navigate through that and move through that grief. We're not talking about jumping over, please don't misunderstood, but moving through that in a way that it's actually help you create something even better. Now, so with that though, there is a way to do that, and once you move through that grief, actually creating the life you love and living a life that you truly love is an expression of honor and love to your loved one. Why? Because if whenever somebody truly love you, think about this. If you have a I don't
Hi,
a
Dr. Pickett. You have someone saying hello
hi
from
there,
LinkedIn.
our son, our pardon me. My apologies if I butcher your name. Arslan, how are you? And feel free to participate and type in what your thought. But if you have somebody that you love, you think about this. If you have a pet or a kid or something that you love, you want them to be happy and joyful. So when they are, it's actually an expression of love and honor to you. So the same thing when you are living life to the fullest and the best, it's an expression of love and honor to your late significant other. Now, if the person say like you said in that case, Numsa, if let's say the relationship was not so great and the person was perhaps abusive to you, and now you're like, oh my gosh, if I go out there, how do I know I don't get into another abusive relationship? Maybe even it's even worse because now I'm older, right? And so, well, that's when you want to allow help. Then that's when you allow people who already take care if it was an abusive relationship, and then you might you feel, some people say, you know what, I have one of my coaches, actually one of my coaches said, you know what, my picker is broken. she, her friend told her, and she said, okay, yes, my picker is broken. Well, she's a very prominent coach, and so this person simply has people that like pop proctors help her pick. And if you don't have direct access to some of the gay Hendrix, for instance, you don't need to. You have Numsa. You have Numsa with her screening system, and that will allow you to be able to, instead of going out there in a wild wild west, the way we say it in here, you, and you're like, it feel like a jungle. Sometimes it could feel like a jungle, uh, and then allow people who guide you. If you see it as a pattern, if you see it as a pattern, you're again and again in this relationship that is really not life-giving to you. Well, we know that our outside circumstance are coming from our inside, and perhaps it is, yes, it's this relationship here, but most of my clients who come to me for relationship problem now actually discover that they have something that they already forgotten. Many times it's even they have already forgotten, but it is something that happened perhaps when they were young, when they are a child, and one of those buried hidden grief. And just like those asymptomatic infections, they're not coming up in your mind in general, but they are there and they're causing problem. Now we don't want you to sit there and trying to think back 20 or 40 or whatever year and dig everything out. That's not what you need to do. What you want to do is address this, and what need to be clear will come up and be clear alongside that. That's the beauty of this personal development work. You don't need to sit there and spend hours and hours trying to dig back, because the more you're digging a hole, the more you fall in it. So don't do that. Just move forward, and then you'll see, you'll trip on them. You'll get a way to discover them and release them and let go. But that, I would say, that's if you to me, to ask for help from people like Numsa. If it's just a one-time experience, ask for help from people people from Numsa. Numsa has international service, so that's the best thing. And then if it is a repeat experience, connect with me, because I'm that's my specialty, is to help people let go of the hidden grief, the things that's still tripping you now. And one thing that you can tell that you might have something that is from your past that still actually causes that influence your life now is when you have triggers. It says somebody said something and you just snap. That's actually an indication of that. So that is one of those things that you could do. What's your thought about that, Numsa?
I agree with you, Dr. Biget, because if you still have some underlying problems, when somebody says something to you, is going to trigger that, or something, an event. It's like myself, like when you say go back to your childhood. When I was with my ex, when he used to tell me off because I wasn't used to being told off by my parents. I was used to my parents explaining if I do something wrong, they wouldn't let me get away with it. There was no way that they would let me get away with it, but they will explain to me the consequences of not listening to them, what will happen, and also for my future as well. They will explain to me what happens if I don't actually take my life very serious. So very close to my family, and then I'm entering a relationship now where I'm not gonna be, someone is not gonna communicate with me. They will tell me off, like I'm like, why are you speaking to me like that? My parents never spoke to me like that. Or sometimes if somebody raises their voice, because I wasn't never used to that, so I'll be like jumping. I'll be like, oh, okay, and it will affect me in a way that I will end up having really stressed because I don't understand. I'm in a world where I don't understand it until I went for counseling when my relationship ended, and that's when I realized that actually people are different. The journey that we walk through in our pathway is different. People are different. I need to embrace the relationship I had with my parents and not expect my spouse to behave the same way like my father. I was a daddy's girl. My stepdad, I was his girl, and my father was his girl. And you tell me off, they're not gonna be happy. Even my dad, when you tell me off, when he in the house, he will get upset with people in the house and say, I need you to explain to her what the consequences of not telling her off. You cannot tell a child off if they don't know what they are doing is wrong. So I used to actually look at him, and also in his relationship with my stepmom and my mom. I've never witnessed my stepdad fighting with my mom. I've never witnessed my dad fighting with my stepmom. So to me, it was hard, but not because they didn't. They did. Trust me. When we were not in the house, they were like, "Give it all," but not in front of us. So it did happen, but not in front of the kids. So to me, it was something like, my children, you fight with me and my children. It was like, I don't do that. We don't do that where I come from. So I had to start learning, and when I meet someone and explain to them that don't fight me in front, explain to them my want, my desires, and communicate my want. And sometimes you have to have courage. There are some people that have gone through challenges, and trust me, divorce is very costly. Nowadays, divorce is a business. If you have money, you're wealthy, and you pick the right woman, you pick the right man, the wrong man, you pick the wrong woman, it's going to cost you. So it's very, very, very important as a man, if you've been hurt before, or as a woman, if you've been hurt before, to have the courage to step into that unknown, step out of that unfamiliar place, experiences pain and suffering, and just seek help and go through. And sometimes people think seeking help is a weakness. That means you're weak. Guess what? We are not weak. When a man has basically, sometimes men believe they have to be strong. Women believe that when there are some cultures that when I go and tell someone my problems is forbidden in my culture. Who says that? Even God himself, when he couldn't, basically, when he was hungry, he couldn't feed his disciples. He was like, I'm gonna go and seek help to my Father in heaven. And that's when he goes and seek help to his Father, and his Father, he helps him, but he doesn't abuse his power. He knows he can actually do anything to get what he wants, but he does not want to abuse his power. He says, I'm going to seek help to my Father in heaven. So we are not God. So that means that we don't have the resources. So we're going to fall eventually. If a man goes through challenges, you're going to fall. But that's why God sends angels to help you, to pick you up. That therapist is not there as a therapist, is an angel. Love harmonist. I'm a love harmonist. I harmonize love. Basically, that's what I do for living. You come to me, you messed up life. I'm not gonna judge you. I wanna hear more. I wanna dig deep. And I want you to leave your past behind, that past that has messed you up. I don't want you to enter a relationship with that past. I want you to enter that present life and say, look back to your past and say, you know what? I love the person that made me go through that pain, because today I've had a chance to meet Nomsa. I've had a chance to meet these coaches at Ngozi Talk Shows, Hope Springs, Eternal Introduction Agency. And I'm feeling good about myself. As a man, I'm feeling good. As a woman, I'm feeling good. Not to have regrets. Pastor there to teach us a lesson. If you are somebody, some people have divorced. Women have taken everything. When I was going through divorce, Dr. Bigot, I stopped talking to people. Everyone was like, make sure you take everything. I'm like, I thought a relationship was all about meeting someone. You have a relationship with them. You create a life story. And then when things don't work out, you go separate ways. And they were like, you have a child with this man. Make sure you take, honestly, I was like, seriously? Take everything. It was only my mother-in-law who said to me, Nomsa, when you're going through these challenges with your relationship, your daughter is going to get hurt. So as a mother, you know how to protect her. I'm not going to tell you, but you know how to protect her. I think she's the only person, and my mom, that gave me good advice to say. My mom was like, the father of your daughter, he is still my son-in-law, regardless of you going separate ways, but he's always gonna be part of the family. So he was she was letting me know that regardless of what is going on, I've gotta get it together and do the right thing. She is a mother. So that's what I got. And as a mother, doing the right thing, hell is tough. I cannot sit there and tell you that when you want to do the forgiveness, there's a magic pill that you can take and it happens overnight. It's a process. Some days are bad. When you have to face the men that you've left behind, they come and pick up their child. It's a process. But that process is worth it. When you choose not to fight, when you choose to actually hold on to the good memories, it's tough. It's basically, it's not an easy journey, but in the end, that healing, when you get that healing, and for me, basically, it was God that held me together, that helped me to put the pieces together. I didn't do it on my own. I remember surrendering everything, saying, you know what? I don't know what the life that I'm stepping into right now. All I know is I met this person, God, and I told you I needed a man that is gonna respect me, that is gonna do this. You gave me that man, and you've taken him away. And God was like, "What now? You spend 3 hours, Nomsa, getting dressed." No personal development. You spend 3 hours making sure when you step outside, everyone goes, wow. but no personal development. It was like, no, think again, Nomsa. So I had to think, evaluate my life. I don't put makeup anymore because I used to take 3 hours getting dressed, going out, making sure my handbag matched my shoes, everything, my hair, my fake eyelashes, my fake hair that makes me feel bad. That basically it was my number one. So we got to say as it is. It was my number one, Dr. Bigot. So I had to get rid of my bad habit and to say, you know what, I'm going to rewrite my story. I got rid of that makeup that made me basically just the reason why I got rid of the makeup. It was for me to look at myself for who I am. For the person that I meet, when they say, Nomsa, I love you, I look at them in the eyes, eye to eye, and tell them, I love you, honey, and embrace my past, embrace who I am. And that was the reason. I still look good. I still go out. I still buy nice clothes. I still look good. But I've cut down more personal hours development, 2 hours personal development, 1 hour getting dressed, or 40 minutes.
I I guess I would love to know even at 1 hour what do you do? And so I'm one of those that yeah, jump out of the shower and like this morning and jump right here right away. I'm grateful for a lot of things because yeah, I have no patience. It's like let's get out of this the bathroom and just move on with life in 5 minutes. So
Dr. Bigot, it was now, you know what? I used to do my nails. I used to do my face. I would just sit there in the bath and feel everything. And it was so, when I look back, I'm like, I can't go back.
right, and at the same time, though, even if you are doing that right now, and it is very true. Reina says here, it depends on how you were programmed, and if you want to reprogram, and it's an awareness, and it's very true. Yes, a lot of time when things happen, particularly in a relationship. Now, there is a saying: it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
It takes two to tango. So when things not working out, perhaps you experience yet another dates that's not going well for the 20th times in 20 weeks, whatever. Then it's very easy to start saying, oh gosh, there's just no good man out there, or there's no good woman, or what have you. And remember this: it takes two to tango. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to start blaming yourself. We're not talking about berating yourself, but perhaps one thing that, as you, Numsa, one thing that when my marriage dissolved in the past, when that marriage dissolved, it came to my mind, and I'm very grateful for whatever it is. I said, you know what? I just going to take a look and see what's my part in it, and choose, like Reina says, that to reprogram, like like you said, okay, let's let go of all these the additional 2 hours of getting dressed. I actually was basically like the client that you wouldn't want to have back in the day, because my mode operations, if anything, is to get upset. And so anything happen in life, I just snap and bark and so forth. And and it's not that now there's a difference between not getting upset, you truly don't get upset, or you're just kind of burying it in, right? And hiding it. And so that's one of the things that I start looking back and looking inside and say, okay, knowing that it takes two to tango, yes, he did all these things, but what is my role in here? And what can I do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And that's when you look in yourself and clean yourself up from the things that's happened from the past. And for many people, it could be things that's from back in the childhood, which is what's the uh, the letting go part and the releasing your hidden grief and unrecognized grief is all about. And then that way you're not falling into this this divorce, and in different place different, but right as you're saying that divorce is a business, and to a degree divorce is here, at least in sounds like in the UK and here in the United States, it's definitely is a magnificent business. And they and people, I know a lot of divorce attorney, and they can say, first of all, this is how it is. Many of them can look at, I know attorneys who can look at the photo, the wedding photo, or the wedding. People take a video now. They can look at it and say, "This one gonna succeed. This one's not." I'm not kidding. And they're like, "Well, that's gonna go well. That's not. That might get fixed if they go on a counseling, but if not, they're gonna be with us." Oi, it's a business. It's a, yeah. There is a whole specialty now. It doesn't. There is nothing against divorce attorney. Please don't take me wrong. It's definitely very helpful professions when you have to go through that. But there are way you can do to such that you don't become a statistic here in the United States. 50% first marriage fail. Second marriage 75%. Don't fall into that. And the way you don't fall into that is by, like Rena says, choosing if you want to reprogram, and that's reprogram yourself as well as your way of choosing thing. And if you feel that, okay, I've done all the work for myself and my picker is broken, then you might want to have somebody like Numsa to help you, so you can get help picking, so to say. And so that is something that I would say is a very important thing to do, to look in yourself. The late Bob Proctor says at some point, and when I first hear this, I wanted to smash the iPhone because I didn't want to hear it. And but he says, we all receive what we deserve. And at that time, I happen to have result that I don't particularly like in my life. And for me to hear that we all receive what we deserve, I'm like, F you. Good thing Bob Proctor wasn't actually standing there, but I was like, F you. And then I look back and I said, you know what? Well, we receive who we are. We receive not what we want, we receive who we are, and in a way, what we deserve, because you receive who you are, is what you deserve, and everything is a mirror. So let go of the things that's still bothering you. And if you don't even know if there are things in your past that's still causing, influencing your result right now or not, then just simply look at the result that you have now and say, is everything perfect the way I want it to be? And if things are not perfect the way you want it to be in any aspect, relationship, work, health, or what have you, then ask for help. If you tried and it's not working, well, it's not going to suddenly change if you just keep trying on your own. And so it's just kind of like if I were to suddenly change the toilet here, I would have no freaking idea on how to do that. And if me just tinkering with that, it's not going to get me anywhere. So ask for help. It is an expression of strength and courage to ask for help. And so ask for help if you don't have the result you want. It could be from me. I'm a grief transformation coach as well as a life success coach. It could be from other coaches, but ask for help. As well as if you say, okay, I've done all that, and my coach says that perhaps you want help in choosing somebody who's suitable for your life, then ask for help from Numsa. She is an expert in that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. That is so true. If you're looking for love, and you go to our website, and if you pass the assessment of the women and men that we work with? Yes, of course. I can help you. And also Dr. Bigot, she's a grieving coach. And sometimes in life we grieve in different ways. Sometimes we lose our loved ones, and that can affect our relationship. That can affect our businesses, how we perform in our businesses, and how basically we run our everyday life. So grieving is not just losing someone, or sometimes it could be losing something that is important to you. So you have to make sure that me basically I'm lucky because I work with all these coaches from all walks of life, and whenever I have problems I get basically pleasure to actually ask questions. And Dr. Bigot knows that if I'm going through something or if I lose someone in my family, I do ask questions, or I do create a topic basically just to have an idea and ask questions that are troubling me. And because I'm a human being, I'm not a God, so I don't want to behave like God. I ask help from God. So I'm bound to fall. I'm bound to basically go through some challenges in life. So I just want, basically, if you are going through something, here at Ngozi Talk Shows, we have all coaches from all walks of life. So you can message us on our social media or go to the website Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency. Message me, I'll connect you with whoever coach you would like to connect with, and follow us on social media, subscribe on YouTube. We are just out there to basically help you find your own voice and lead from within, and that's what we're all about. And so if do you have any words of encouragement, Dr. Bigot, for someone who is going through something? For me, basically, someone who is going through something right now, or you're struggling with the past, you have to accept things that you cannot change. And don't put up with the past. Seek help. If you're going through something, seek help. If you've gone through challenges in the past, seek help, and without blaming yourself or without making yourself wrong for making those choices, because we have to learn from our mistakes. And in order for us to grow to become who we want to become today, we have to go through challenges. We are speaking today because of the pain that we went through, and because we were able to work on that pain and come through other side, climb the mountain and find, for me, basically, it was God that helps me to become who I wanted to become, by having that strength, having the courage, having the basically understanding that yes, I've gone through the pain, but I still need to live my life how I want. Marriages don't work. I still need to work on myself and find the somebody else who I can get along, because sometimes it's just, it might be you just don't get along with someone. People are good at, I don't know, Dr. Bigot, but people are good at putting up stories until 6 months later, the real them come out. For me, basically, I'm no longer putting any personality. What you see with Nomsa is what you get. Unapologetic with my mistakes, with my smile, with my pain. Unapologetic, you get to meet the real me. So that's who I am, but I've learned that the hard way. No, I've always been like this. No, I've had to learn it, and it's a process that I had to go through it. And then I found that Nomsa that I had left behind, the younger self, that had to teach me to say, Nomsa and God, walk with me. I'll hold your hands. And then I had to learn my ways. I had to learn to behave like a woman. I had to just when I'm saying behave like a woman, it means respecting myself. When I respect myself, it means I'm not going to tell me that I'm not good enough. I'm not going to tell myself that my boobies are not good enough. That is respect. I'm not going to tell myself that my hair, I wish my hair was different, was this. That's disrespecting myself. So I have to look at myself and say, Nomsa, I love you for standing by me, regardless of what. That is respect. Over to you, Dr. Bigot. Words of encouragement, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I would say there's a saying, nothing changed if nothing changed. And so, whatever the result that you don't like right now, and it could be a relationship, it could be your work, you seems to be attracting yet another mean boss. Could be relationship, but it could be something like that. It could be like, why is that you seems to go from one toxic work environment to the next toxic work environment and feel like that? And in here we have the saying that you go from the frying pan to the and into the fire. Sometimes you can feel like that at work, and perhaps it's a health situation where you seem to finally navigate and do well with one part of your health, and now it's another one. So whatever the result that you don't like, then it's not in a way of blaming, but a lot of time it is in, if it is a repeated result, then you might want to say, what's the common denominator here? And perhaps it is you. And that is perhaps when you want to say, let me, since I don't know what's causing all this, and rather than, there is a thing of in medicine where you're treating the symptoms versus you actually treating the root of the problem, then perhaps you want to ask for help from somebody such as myself, or somebody else is a different coach if you don't feel connected with me for whatever reason. If I do provide complimentary consultations, but if you say, you know what, I just want somebody who is right in my neighborhood or something, and you're not here in Westlake Village, and so then connect with somebody who can help you. So you can change things, you can change you to change your outside. And it's all come with the decisions. You got to decide that you want things to change, and then take the next step, which is ask for support, so you can do the change a lot safer and a lot easier and a whole lot faster. And when you do that, everything is possible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless you.